You're looking at Iron Man facing his darkest moment ever. Tony lies weakly on the spaceship and slowly activates his broken helmet, preparing to record his final moments.
If you find this recording, don't post it on social media. It's gonna be a real tearjerker.
Back in Avengers, Infinity War, Thor's axe missed the vital spot. Thanos used his last breath to snap his fingers, wiping out half of all life across the universe. On the planet Titan, only Nebula and Tony managed to survive. Tony spent every single day modifying the ship to head back to Earth. Even so, the craft broke down thousands of light years away from our planet. Supplies on board had run completely dry and their oxygen would only last until the next morning. The two fell into total despair, lying there quietly waiting for the end. Just as they were about to run out of oxygen, a brilliant glow appeared outside the ship and jolted Tony awake. He finally saw a ray of hope, and it was Captain Marvel, the Cosmic Protector. She towed the entire spaceship back to the Avengers compound. Yet the first words Tony said to Captain America were full of frustration.
Lost again.
This unprepared, brutal battle left the gaunt Tony extremely irritable. He had told everyone before that he wanted to build armored defenses to protect the whole world, but no one supported his idea.
You said we'll do that together too. And guess what, Cap? We lost. And you weren't there.
He grew more and more worked up as he talked, and even pulled out the nano-arc reactor from his chest and handed it to Cap. Soon after he collapsed to the ground from sheer exhaustion, the team decided to take back the Infinity Gauntlet and bring all the vanished people back to life. Thor was also filled with regret over his failed strike, so he summoned Stormbreaker right in front of Captain Marvel.
I like this one.
After running analyses, Nebula detected energy signals from the Infinity Stones. An Earth-like planet had given off the same energy a few days earlier. What they had no idea about was that Thanos had already retired by then. He looked worn out from a fierce fight and dragged his tired body back to his small cabin. Suddenly, a powerful energy descended from the sky. Captain Marvel caught Thanos off guard and restrained his arms. Right away, Thor swung his axe and cut off his left arm. But when Rocket flipped over the Infinity Gauntlet, they found all 6 stones were long gone. To stop others from using the stones to rewrite the universe, Thanos pushed his badly injured body to the limit and destroyed all the stones by leveraging their conflicting properties. This act nearly cost him his life. Everyone thought Thanos was lying, but only Nebula knew the truth. For all the terrible things her adoptive father had done, he never told lies. With all hope shattered, Thor lifted his axe and delivered the finishing blow.
What did you do?
I went for that.
The biggest threat to the universe was gone, yet the whole group was drowned in sorrow. Without the Infinity Stones, those who disappeared might never come back. Now watch closely, this guy is no ordinary person. He stomps down hard and presses the button for the quantum tunnel. As the machine slowly powers up, a figure shoots out from the quantum realm. It's Scott Lang, also known as Ant-Man, who can shrink and grow in size. He tried to get in touch with his teammates but got no response at all. He wandered along the street in total confusion, having no clue what had happened. Streets that used to be bustling were now completely empty. When he saw countless missing person posters on utility poles, he realized something terrible had happened. He could never accept the truth. 5 hours trapped in the quantum realm turned into 5 whole years in the real world. He frantically checked tombstones looking for his daughter Cassie's name, only to find his own name carved on one too. He sprinted home as fast as he could to check on his family. Luckily, his daughter was still there. She survived the snap and had grown into a young lady. After that, Scott headed for the Avengers compound. Captain America and Black Widow were utterly shocked to see Ant-Man still alive. Natasha, who had been trapped in despair, finally saw hope. Surprisingly, the first thing he did was grab and eat Natasha's sandwich. Then he told them everything he'd been through. Time flows differently inside the quantum realm. What felt like 5 years to everyone else was just 5 hours for him while he was trapped. He put forward a bold plan. They could take advantage of the time difference in the quantum realm, build a time machine, travel back to the past before Thanos' attack, and rescue everyone who vanished. To test whether this idea could work, the group went to find the retired Tony. If they strictly followed the rules of time travel, traveled back and collected all 6 Infinity Stones, they could snap their fingers and bring everyone home. No matter how hard they explained, Tony still turned them down. Now a father of a young daughter, he only wanted to live a peaceful family life. Had to leave empty-handed. Since Tony refused to help, Captain America had to turn to another genius to develop the time machine. By this time, Dr. Banner had fully combined the Hulk's strength with his own intelligence. The two sides no longer fought against each other, though the Hulk's power had weakened a lot. To bring back half of all lost lives, Banner decided to give the plan a try. Banner had little experience with the quantum realm, so Scott ended up being the test subject. In just dozens of seconds, Scott experienced a full cycle of life from birth to old age. When he finally returned to normal, Scott opened his mouth and said,
"Somebody peed my pants."
Oh, thank God.
That night, Tony stared at the photo of him and Spider-Man and fell into deep thought again. He went down to his basement and ran a digital simulation based on Ant-Man's time travel idea. What started as a casual test proved that building a time machine was actually possible. Yet when he looked at his young daughter, he grew afraid of losing the peaceful life he now had.
Love you tons.
I love you 3,000.
After careful consideration, he decided to reach out to Captain America. The two had drifted apart ever since the Avengers Civil War. To focus on the greater good, Tony returned Cap's shield and they reconciled right then. Now everything was in place, and their top priority was to bring all teammates back together. Banner and Rocket headed to Asgard to find Thor. Thor was still haunted by his failure to stop Thanos. He spent all his days overindulging in food and drinks in Asgard, becoming a withdrawn and fragile loner. No one could believe the once invincible Thor had sunk so low.
You alright? Yes, fine. Why? Don't I look alright?
You look like melted ice cream.
After some persuasion from Banner and Rocket, Thor agreed to return to the Avengers compound. Even so, he barely put down his beer after arriving. Black Widow went to Tokyo alone to find Hawkeye, who now lived as a wandering vigilante. Thanos' snap wiped out half of all life across the universe at random, and Hawkeye lost his entire family while surviving himself. For the past 5 years, he'd taken his pain out on criminal groups to ease his sorrow. Seeing hatred cloud his mind, Widow told him there was finally a way to bring everyone back. Hope returned to the grief-stricken Hawkeye at last. The team worked non-stop day after day to assemble the machine, and it was nearly complete. Colonel Rhodes raised a question: why not simply travel back to when Thanos was just an infant? Banner replied that the idea was far too cruel. It would only create a brand new timeline. Changing the past could never rewrite their present future. Their only plan was to collect all the Infinity Stones, bring them to their current timeline, and use the stone's power to restore everyone who'd vanished. They would then send each stone back to its original time and place afterward. Every time jump relied on Pym particles for shrinking power, and their stock only allowed one round trip for each person. It meant they could not make a single mistake.
One test run.
Before long, the time machine was fully completed. Hawkeye stepped up as the first tester and traveled safely back to the period before the snap. When he heard his daughter's voice, Hawkeye wore a long-awaited smile. The test was clearly a success. After discussing the plan, the team split into 3 groups to jump to different time points: New York, Asgard, and Morag. For 5 years, they'd endured the pain of losing family and friends. Today, they had a chance to get everything back. Everyone got fully prepared, determined to gather all 6 Infinity Stones.
See you in a minute.
As the time machine activated slowly, the group was successfully transported to the eras where the stones existed. Hulk was sent to see the Ancient One and retrieve the Time Stone. He reached out for the stone, but in the next second, the Ancient One landed a gentle strike and separated Banner's soul from his body. He was shocked to see this sorceress was far stronger than him. With no physical form left, Banner had to explain the whole story to her. No matter how clearly he stated their mission, the Ancient One still refused to believe him. She said handing over the stone would let darkness consume this world. As the Supreme Sorceress, she could never let the Time Stone fall into others' hands. Her attitude changed instantly the moment she heard the name Stephen. Banner was left totally confused. The Ancient One lifted her hand and sent Banner's soul back into his body. She then channeled her magic, took out the Time Stone and handed it to him. She knew Stephen would become the greatest sorcerer among them someday,
Strange is meant to be the best of us.
and he must have his reasons for this choice. In the end, Banner successfully obtained the Time Stone.